Let's go. Welcome to SkyPunk. Colin and I are talking the talk about Justice League. So we both just watched the film. Jesus Christ, that was epic.
I mean, where do you even start with a 4-hour movie? Where do you even start to try and explain this?
Don't know, I can't remember it.
I mean, first and foremost, the fan in me of DC absolutely loved this. Absolutely loved this.
Yeah, me too, mate.
But I would need to say at the same time, it's a good movie. It's I wouldn't say it's like anything maybe for a neutral to say is it anything amazing or maybe in the scope of the bigger movies that we've had with like Marvel, but I definitely think for every fan that wanted to see his vision, Zack Snyder's, this was worth the wait. This was worth the fight.
It was, absolutely. It just felt so complete compared to the cinematic release that just made no sense whatsoever to release that shit.
This made that cinematic release just a waste of time. I mean, you look at the two of them and you go, why didn't when Zack had that on, that family issue that was a travesty. Like, why didn't they just turn around and go and delay the movie until Zack could come back and finish it? Because we cleared. Yeah.
Anyone that looked at that film like part finished before Zack went off would have thought, right, the vision's too big here. Let's just pause. But why cut it down, chop it here and there, get it into an hour and a half movie and release it when it's nowhere near what his vision was?
Yeah, and it was the fact they did reshoots for what we got in the cinema. And the reshoots, I mean, there's obviously, and we have to stress this, there's no mustache deleting in this version. It is just pure sexy Henry Cavill in all his entirety, no digitally enhancedness. But they reshot part of the cinematic one, and it was like, on one hand, I think for the most part, the reshoots, a lot of them just didn't work. It was, you're taking a film that Zack's been building slowly since Man of Steel and then BVS.
Yeah.
And to then totally try and change the tone of it.
I just don't understand.
It was a disaster. It really was.
People want this darker stuff. This is just human nature. We're dark, depressing beings. We want this dark shit out there. So why just decorate it with fucking filter after filter and release it as a brighter thing? You just you wouldn't do it.
People enjoy it. I mean, you look at the Christopher Nolan Batmans. They're dark. And people love those movies, especially the second one. And that's dark as shit. Like, but people love it. Do you know what I mean? I almost feel like when you look at some of the Marvel movies, the kind of individual ones they did, like Iron Man, and they kind of try to go for a lighter tone. Some of them really didn't work.
They didn't.
I think it was Thor Ragnarok's the only one that comes to my mind that worked for the humour. Everything else just fell flat. And then see when you got the darkness of like Infinity War and Endgame, people loved that shit.
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok were kind of an auxiliary thing, and you were happy to just let that slide as its own thing, and it was good. I enjoyed that. And then when it got to Infinity War and Endgame, when it brought back that darkness to it, that's when everybody just went fucking apeshit. They loved it.
Yeah, and it's the exact same for this movie. It felt like it had to be dark for the epicness that they went for.
Yeah,
and
well, DC was always meant to be dark for me anyway.
Yeah, and like when you look at it, I mean, was it 2017 the cinema one came out? So there was rumours before that came out, before Zack had to leave the project, that it was going to be a two-parter. There was rumours about that for quite some time, that the Justice League was going to be two movies. I mean, you see Zack's 4-hour vision, you can see why exactly.
Yeah, you could have easily split that up, or from what we've got from this cut, it could lead on to several things.
Yeah, and I think because DC, I felt like at the time, way back in 2017 as well, that DC were trying to play catch up with Marvel too much.
Yeah.
Marvel put in the legwork. They had put solo movies out of the Avengers, like Captain America, Thor, Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like, so by the time you got to Avengers, everybody knew that cared about the movie, knew who everybody was, knew their backstory. You could just dive straight in. They tried to dive straight in the Justice League cinematic, and it didn't work because people did not care about
That's
these
what I mean.
characters.
Didn't make sense.
Like,
It didn't have all these little nuances and backdrops for each character that the Snyder Cut obviously
yeah,
does. It
and
explains a lot of shit, man.
yeah, and just spend a bit more time with these characters, which effectively is like the first 2 hours of the movie, more or less. Like, I actually really like Cyborg in this movie. He gets a
I did.
real,
I
he
found
gets a real good chance to shine now.
because he's got that backstory, he's got that character development, and I found myself actually liking him probably more than the others.
Yeah, it was they proper spent some time, and it was even I says to you during the movie, like I'm actually liking this version of Flash more than I
Yeah.
thought because the bits I've seen of Flash, I was like, he's okay. It's maybe not what I'm after, but when I see it all in kind of context, it was like this kind of works. What they were kind of going for.
I'm sure in the cinematic release they didn't have that much that many comedy moments for Flash. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think they did, and I don't think they even had like the times that he spends with his dad in the Zack version. Do you know what I mean?
I think
Like,
they might have had one
but it was just
scene.
you just knew what his backstory was, and then when Bruce Wayne appears to try and recruit him,
Yeah.
it makes sense how that comes together. When you think about the Justice League cinematic, you can see how cut up. That's when you start to see how cut up this movie really was.
Just before we move
Because
on,
okay,
I was gonna go on my theory then because you just mentioned that
okay, right.
with Flash. Yeah, so Batman talks about his premonition where Flash comes back. I think it's in Batman v Superman where
Yep,
he
yep,
actually comes back and he warns him about something. He said Lois Lane is the key, right? But it's a dark key in it. It's that
yeah,
dark premonition. So I think she's probably pregnant with
yeah.
Superman's baby, but it's like the anti version.
Well, this is where I see a lot of stuff when you take in the end of the movie as well.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like Zach was building towards his version of Injustice, where
yeah,
in
I
those
felt
kind of
that.
games and comics, like basically, what was it? Joker kills Lois Lane
Joker, you got Slade. He was Slade
and then
Wilson in there.
Superman snaps because I think it was like I think in the game or the comics or something. Like Superman was tricked, and I think it was him that ended up killing Lois, and she was pregnant, and he goes full on evil.
Yeah,
And they talked about it in Zach's version that Lois was the key again, and they said, well, she was because it helped save our asses from Superman back, when he comes back to life. And you almost think that epilogue in Zach's someday, I think it was the Joker when he finally appears, which I kind of want to talk about him as well, but
yeah. I was
he
talking
kind
about.
of says to Batman that it was his fault Lois died. So it's almost like the reason why Superman's kind of with Darkseid in this dark future. It's as if Lois has died somewhere along the lines.
He
And
also mentions, well, you can tell that Aquaman's been killed as well.
yep,
So, I mean, it's like an alternate, it's like a multiverse theory in it again. And even
yeah,
the Joker speaks about alternate universes and how many you're going to kill.
there was quite a lot of conversations about multiverse, which I was quite surprised at. Christ, even Steppenwolf, the big bad in this movie, I actually liked him. The first, the cinematic,
Oh, yeah.
he was a nobody. He was just
They
somebody
proper
that
cut him down. They cut all his visuals down for that
yeah. But
cinematic
it was,
release. I don't know why. Why?
but even Zach gave him a story.
Yeah.
Like in because the first one, the cinematic, they just cut out, Darkseid and everything. But the fact that this was a guy that had in some way let down Darkseid, what
Yeah.
whatever he was trying
He's
to do,
the fact that he's actually serving someone else as well, which
yeah, and
I
he's
don't,
trying. he's trying to get back into those good graces of his lord. So there's
I
this
th-
backstory of redemption for him by trying to destroy this planet.
exactly, yeah. Yeah, to try
And
and get in his good graces.
you didn't get that, but at least you kind of you got to see the villain's story arc unfold, and it was kind of like this is actually quite enjoyable. It's do you know what I mean? The same way other villains in other movies do get those chances to see how what their plan is. We totally got to grips of what this guy's plan was and
Yep.
what it was going to mean for the heroes if they failed.
I can't believe they just cut Darkseid out of it, but the only thing I can probably guess that he tried to do, Whedon, was he got given that chance, step in, finish the movie, and he wanted to just wrap it up as a standalone entity, with no scope for
But
expansion.
yeah, and I think he's done that because that's what WB wanted, and
Well, fuck them, man.
and
Give us what
and
we want.
I know, but that's my problem. It's somewhere along the lines. I don't know if it was after Batman v Superman. Did Warner Brothers? Did they just basically turn and go? I'm not really feeling this Zack project. Do you know what I mean?
They probably
And they were
looked
just
at the
looking to end it.
stats. Yeah, they probably looked at the reception that people from the audience and thought this might be
But
a non-starter. But we
don't
don't
get me
know.
wrong. Like I've got issues with Batman v Superman. I enjoyed it, but there's definitely a lot wrong with
Yeah,
it. But when you compare it to how it kind of runs into this version of Zack's movie, you can kind of see what he was trying to do, and it's like I don't always agree with all the story beats that he's put in it, but it was great to see how all three movies kind of flow.
absolutely. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I thought from Man of Steel, Man of Steel I thought were great. Thought they were a good
Yes.
origins movie. So they have sort of tried to do like the little small origins, but they need to do more. They need to do more.
Yeah, there's so much they need to do with the individual characters. I mean, after as we said, seeing Cyborg like this, I wouldn't mind a wee movie about him, a wee short hour and a half movie of him, like
Yeah,
exploring him. If
have
if they didn't, if Zach didn't get to do this, do you know what I mean? Because
it's
he's
only going to be short, that one.
yeah, well, yeah, but do you know what I mean? They had Zach had to do it this way to explain the
Yeah,
backstory of all these
and I don't
characters. He
think he
really, he
could.
really did.
He couldn't have got it any shorter. 4
No.
hours. But yeah, it explained a lot of shit, and it was just fucking epic. That last scene, um, not the epilogue, but before that, it were like tenfold in
Mm.
epicness compared to the
Uh,
cinematic
uh,
release.
you finally got to see Zach's version of the Speed Force.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I mean that was the action scenes in this, like Zack Snyder knows how to do action scenes because it was every
yeah.
fight scene was proper, so much better, like
Even
in every
Batman,
way.
his action were good. In his combat scenes were good. I know there were few and
Yeah,
far between, and he looks weak as shit up till the very end when he's actually using his fists and shit. But yeah, they were good. His combat scenes, and you just think, yeah, he's
but his
earned his place
Batman
on this team,
almost
even though he started.
yeah. Because his Batman made sense because obviously towards the end he's kind of got a gun that he's kind of using on the enemy. But you do see him use his fists and get beat down a few times, but that kind of highlights how human he really is, because he is
Yeah,
just a guy with certain gadgets. But like even Wonder Woman, she was proper brutal in this movie.
gosh, you are
Do you know what I
sexy as
mean? She
hell.
was. I mean, she was just she killed it. Like they even in the cinematic version, they even kind of softened her a bit too much because like she's this Amazon warrior. Do you know what I mean? And
I ain't even
she
seen 1984. Yeah,
I've not seen the second Wonder Woman yet.
yeah, that's what I need to
Just
see.
the first one, but I've not heard great things, which doesn't help. But um,
We'll see.
I think all the characters got a really good shine. The only one I felt never got much was Aquaman. I felt like he was just
I think yeah. I don't know why.
he didn't get massive rubs the way like Cyborg did. But
I
he
think
was in
it's
it.
because he had well, it was meant to be such a big movie, and it sort of was. It was grand, wasn't it? It was a grand movie. Aquaman. It might not have been likable for some, but I think because of that, I don't think you needed to know much else.
Mhm.
What I would have liked is to know about his like present struggles and shit, and a bit of
Yeah.
emotion on that
They
story.
they they kept him kind of mysterious at times. You know what I mean? Where he was just like this kind of broody guy that just didn't want to help out. But there was wee scenes where he kind of was like almost breaking character a little bit, and it was kind of nice to see. It was almost like he was starting to get that rapport with, say, like the Flash,
Yeah,
and you can start to see the workings of a potential like
that's
team
what I
almost.
liked, and when it all came together in the end, and they're all like buddies, weren't they?
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, I
so
should say as
cute.
well, I just love seeing Commissioner Gordon again. I mean, that is just so perfectly casted.
Do you think?
I think he's brilliant. I really do.
I
I
mean, I
really
love
do.
that guy as an actor because in Whiplash and his other films, but I just couldn't really get on with him as Gordon. I know you don't see him much in this, and it's probably a good
Yeah.
thing for me, but I will never place anybody as Commissioner Gordon as in Nolan's
Oh,
Batman.
Gary Oldman.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
Gary Oldman as
he's the best one.
he's definitely up there.
I don't think you can
He's
get anyone
definitely up
else. You need to do them all.
there. I know, but like I'm trying to think. I mean, what did you make of the Joker's appearance?
Yeah, so obviously he's having a dream, and it's sort of like injustice
Mm,
style in it. But I was pleasantly surprised by his actual. I know they're just having a conversation, but his acting,
mm.
I was surprised
Yeah.
because is it what is he in as Joker? Is it Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad. He's
Yeah,
all
I want
short hair, tattooed, and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, I want a fan of that. I want a fan of that
Mm,
take, but in this, you can actually see Joker's character there, like meshed with him, and
mm.
I hadn't seen that before from Jared Leto.
It's when I was as I was watching it, I really think about it afterwards. I don't know if I was overly a fan. I liked seeing this version rather than the Suicide. I didn't like the Suicide
Yeah,
Squad
I didn't like
version.
it.
Um, Part of me didn't. There was parts of his laugh I didn't even like. But the conversation
See,
between him and
I thought
Batman
that, and then
almost. Sorry, on you go.
yeah, I thought that, and then like when I've actually thought about it, I thought, oh, yeah, that's fucking creepy.
Yeah,
I think
but
that works.
I think because of the setting is where it kind of comes off
Yeah,
actually
it's like the
all right
apocalypse in it.
because like the world's gone to shit now. It's over. They're just trying to. You don't even fully understand what they're up to because
I don't,
it's
yeah, nobody has a
you,
clue. It's just speculation, isn't it? And this is where all
yeah
these theories I've got in my head are coming from. But
the but obviously that was the intention because I think they
yeah,
said before this movie came out that it was going to end in a cliffhanger, and I don't think it ended in a pure cliffhanger. It ended in a
no,
finish that you could make peace with, but it's definitely wide open with where Zach wanted to go with it.
yeah, it ended with
Um,
possibilities.
yeah, because I mean the fact that in the epilogue you get Lex Luthor again, and Deathstroke basically finds out that Batman's Bruce Wayne, which I think at
Yeah.
that time would have been done that way because I think Ben Affleck said that his Batman movie he wanted to do was for him and Deathstroke, so it would have tied in quite nicely with that.
So do
Um,
you think there's going to be the next films could be a Batman film, or do you think it's going to be another Justice League?
I'm not even convinced at this stage we're going to get anything. Within the new Batman that's coming out next year or something like that.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. But Matt
Then
Reeves, the director
mhm.
of the new Batman, has mentioned about it's gonna they're gonna utilize the multiverse theory.
Yeah, well, that
It's
that
all
would go
part of
with
that
some. Yeah, I mean
in
the
DC.
rumors I heard, because the rumors I've heard, you've heard like Michael Keaton's Batman's back and going in the Flash movie and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So there's been so many rumors that this Flash movie is just going to rewrite everything that's happened. Almost, you could if they wanted, they could delete all of Zack Snyder stuff and have like a
And
new
reboot.
Batman, a new Superman. Do you know what I mean? They could totally recast whoever they wanted because you're hearing at points that they're not even convinced. You're hearing on one side Henry Cavill is going to be back as Superman, but it'll be cameos in other movies. You've heard there's possible another casting for Superman. There's obviously the new
Ah,
Batman.
there's all sorts.
It's almost like That's the one thing I could say Marvel does well. They've got a clear plan and they stick to it. Even
Oh,
if
fucking hell.
even if a movie flopped, they're probably still going to stick to it.
Yeah, with
But
all references in each film that link in. They've probably got this
yeah,
huge tapestry somewhere in a massive abandoned warehouse with all fucking
mm.
timelines on. And say,
and,
no,
and
this links here.
yeah, and think all the kind of even single movies of our heroes that had wee scenes at the end that linked into a new standalone movie of say Thor or something. Do you know what I mean? They linked
Yeah.
everything. They had a plan. They stuck to it. I feel like Warner Brothers really has no plan. They have
I think
nothing. They're
when they
just trying
started,
to.
yeah, the firefighting, I think they hit the ground running and they realised they were in over the heads compared to Marvel, and they're just firefighting now.
Yeah.
So I, I know. I think they're going to mess it up. They're going to mess the universe up if they aren't already. They've
Hmm.
got all this Zack Snyder stuff, and they're going to be rebooting Batman again.
Yeah.
Um, what is it? There's going to be
They've
another Joker now.
yeah, they've got it where they want it. Where Zach's put out everything that he had now. This is
Yeah,
his vision of Justice League. Yes, he clearly from this movie wanted to go beyond that. But I don't think he's going to. I would love another petition. Make
yeah. I'm
physical
going to say,
copies.
don't
Make
tell me he's
physical
gone
copies
now.
of this, and
This film has redeemed him in my eyes because I blamed him for the cinematic version, which I shouldn't have done. I just didn't know that it'd been finished by another director.
yeah,
Um,
it's.
but yeah,
I would.
after this, I'm just like, yes, we need it.
Yeah, I feel like the most I could probably hope for right now, to try and stay realistic, is the best you might get is Zach in an interview saying, "Here's what I envision for the next maybe 3 or 4 movies." Do you know what I mean? In a
Yeah, just a little
storyboard
tidbit.
format. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Because he clearly wanted to keep it going. He clearly, maybe at some degree with WB, had a plan of how this kind of story. Because I mean, he was clearly, and he probably bit off a bit more he could chew in BVS, but he's clearly going for the big stuff. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
like the next Justice League movie was clearly going to be the all out war with Darkseid.
yeah. They've lined
Do
it
you know what I
up.
mean?
Well,
It was
he's lined it up, and he's lined up a load of different potential films.
yeah. I mean, you could have had the next Justice League movie with Darkseid be the one that ends with that kind of nightmare that Bruce keeps seeing,
Yeah.
where like that's where the movie's going to end because they lose.
Well,
You
that
know,
also ties into Batman v Superman, doesn't it? When he has those dreams,
yeah, because the Flash comes back and he was like, "Am I
he's
too
dressed
late?
in
Am I
his
too early?"
yeah, but he also has a dream where he's fighting all the Superman
That's right. Yep.
anti Superman, what do you
And
call it, groupies, yeah. But
then Superman takes his yep.
wearing the same shit, innit? So
Yeah.
that sort of tells
There's
me, yeah, this might be injustice.
but there was I feel like he was clearly and I suppose some ways it's going to kind of look like it's copying Avengers, but I think in some ways the next his plan was really the next movie where Darkseid does come to Earth and the heroes in some way lose.
Well, it's
Um,
similar anyway, isn't it?
yeah,
It's
it's
similar. If you read
there's
the
a lot.
comics, they are.
Yeah,
There's not a lot between them. They're
no,
just
there is a lot of similarities, definitely. But I feel like we got that snippet of the Speed Force in Justice League, and it was
yeah,
actually really really cool.
yeah.
That
Well, when
I feel like that would be you would have seen more of the Speed Force possibly in the new Justice League. I mean, because obviously Flash is still alive in these nightmares. So, and he's
yeah,
obviously and from Batman v Superman, he does go back at some stage to try and avert this crisis. So,
well,
I reckon the next Justice League would have easily been at least another 2 movies based on Darkseid alone.
exactly. Yeah, this is why I think after this, I don't think he can leave it. There's going to be too much demand for it.
But that's what we want. We want the people once again to
He's,
speak up,
he's,
be like, right,
he's going to get a
give us
good
this.
commission. He can't
That's
turn
it.
it down.
Because like look at these actors, look at the woman that plays Wonder Woman, you've got the Ben
Yeah, God.
Affleck, you've got all these guys, Henry Cavill, they have all backed Zack Snyder this
Yeah,
release. I mean, he's had them every step of the way. I think Zack announced that he was finishing this movie on HBO Max with on a stream with Henry Cavill. And all the other guys have showed their support on Twitter and things for this guy. So I don't think if somebody gave him money, and went finish this epic arc that you're going for. I truly think he could convince these actors to come back on board.
Oh, definitely. I know Ben Affleck might have something to say about it after his bad reception from the audience.
Yeah, well, I think in this version of Zack, I think Ben Affleck filmed a few extra scenes for Zack's version, and I think it was the ending with the Martian Hunter because you can. I was kind
Yeah,
of looking at it, and I think part the Joker cameo because obviously that was new, but you could see that compared to the rest of the movie, Ben Affleck looked a bit slimmer. He wasn't as bulky, wasn't he
yeah.
built as if he's just
It
kind
did
of
look slimmer. I can't. Yeah, it
yeah.
did look a bit out of place, but yeah. So now we've got 7 at the table. The Martian
Mhm.
Hunter.
Yeah, it's almost like though you kind of want to go, where the fuck were you when the world was
Exactly.
buggered?
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Was
mean?
it looking
Like,
after Lois Lane? That's
yeah,
babysitting job.
gain Lois Lane a wee pat in the
Oh,
back. Do you know what I
was
mean? But I mean, I'd love to see Martian Hunter and Superman kind of interact. There's all this untapped potential now.
there
Do
is,
you know what I
isn't
mean?
there? And if they don't carry on, if Zack don't carry on, then it'll never get done.
No.
We're gonna just they're rebooting this dark, more realistic Batman. It's
Mhm.
never going to tie into anything as big or as grand as this scope.
Yeah. But again, like the new Batman that's coming out gives me feels from like the Christopher Nolan days. So
Yeah,
again,
exactly. Yeah,
they must know that people they gravitate to this dark stuff because it's where they want to see the heroes. They don't want to see Batman telling jokes or can you speak to fish? Like forget that this is the world's greatest detective. He's meant to be dark and a pain in
yeah,
the arse. And
exactly.
doesn't
Yeah,
and doesn't trust anybody. Fair enough, they had to
an
soften him a wee
awkward
bit,
bastard.
even in Zack's version, but I mean, come on. Like you're giving us this was it Matt Reeves, did you say? He's giving us
Yeah,
it
Matt
looks like
Reeves.
another epic dark Batman.
Yeah,
So
I'm looking forward to it. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
I'm just I don't. I think it needs to be a standalone.
yeah.
Like the Joker, I thought that should have been a standalone, but obviously they're making another.
It, and I liked that Joker as well. It was dead different.
Because to
Um,
me, that films like that are biopics. They just tell the story, the backstory of how they're like origin stories, but they should be
mhm.
left at that.
I'm interested to see how much origin the new Batman does because I feel like we're at a point now that certain characters like Superman, Batman, we don't need any more origin stories. We've had a few now. Like we know how they come to be, right? There's
We
plenty
do,
of.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like there's Christopher Nolan's done it. The Tim Burton did it with the Batmans. Man of Steel's done it with Superman. Christ, you even go back to television like Smallville. They tell you how he comes to be. We don't need that shit anymore. Just give us
Oh,
movies where
yeah.
they jump straight in.
Exactly.
And the fact that they could do at least another 2 epic movies of just Darkseid alone, I mean, I would love to see the best part of the next Justice League, that first movie just being that kind of dark, like end of the world. Because I just think that, and just because the snippet in this Justice League movie, you see a Superman just not going evil, but just kicking everyone's ass. I actually
Yeah.
love like
They're
it was
fucking good.
brutal.
Yeah.
It was brutal. It was proper getting stuck
Mate,
in
I loved it.
until Lois Lane showed up and she ruined it. But it was
The
it was
bitch.
just yeah, fucking hell.
What I liked that the Green Lantern snippets. I think there were
Yeah,
two bits that linked to Green Lantern, but
and I think as well that okay, it was super short, but seeing the Green Lantern like that gave me hope for getting a decent kind of version of that.
yeah,
Do
I
you know what I
know.
mean?
I
Like
thought it
because
was brilliant. I wasn't
it
expecting
looked
it.
yeah, it looked brilliant. It did not look at a place. It looked like
Yes,
oh right now just. I mean, again,
it's
I
just one of the
suppose
lanterns.
I suppose they would do an origin story for that, but
Well,
I
they've
would
already lined it up, haven't they? The guy in that battle gets his hand chopped off, ring fucks off to find
yeah.
someone else who's worthy. That's where
So,
Hal comes
but
in.
it's it showed that the Green Lantern can work, especially in this kind of movie. I'm not 100% sure if they could pull off a solo movie, but if you imagine they created the next Justice League, even in Zack's vision, because I think Zach came out when people started seeing the version of Lantern they put in this movie, because obviously it was from well back in the day. Like he
Yeah.
says, it's not his Green Lantern, it's not the Green Lantern. So he's obviously got the Green Lantern image in his head. That
Oh yeah, I think he wanted to put that little
yeah, I
bit in
think he
there.
could seamlessly add Green Lantern to a Justice League movie where there's more characters to take the pressure off Lantern in a solo movie, because I think it'll work so much better in a kind of
Yeah, absolutely.
like,
Because that lantern that were in that battle was thousands of years ago, or whatever, 1,000 years ago when that battle happened.
oh
So
yeah,
obviously, Earth hasn't had a lantern since. That ring's somewhere else.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's not the Green Lantern, but it's one of them.
Yeah, and just
But I
seeing
like
that
that image, like you
and
say.
it was so good. I mean that was really near the beginning when you had like Zeus and everybody, like
Yeah,
all these
and
gods, and
Aries.
they fucked Darkseid up, and it was brilliant.
Fucking ace, man. That one in cinematic version, was it?
No, I think you might have got from what I remember, maybe like a snippet, like flashback when you see them all like charging or something, but you don't
Yeah.
see
Is that
Darkseid. I
full?
think there was Steppenwolf kind of, it was almost like the boxes spoke to him, and that's when he discovered that Earth is more important than just these mother boxes. And I
Yeah,
think
it's
it
got the
was
anti-life.
I think it was a combination of that Steppenwolf scene and the Dark Side scene with the gods that they kind of mashed together to make it look like they were chasing him down in
Yeah.
the Justice League movie. So again, it was
Yeah, it's
when they
just
yeah, yeah. I mean this was great. This was
it
absolutely worth the wait.
absolutely epic. I couldn't believe it. Like at the end, I was just like, I was just
And even
exhausted.
yeah, even just the flow of the movie, I just loved everything flowed, everything made so much
It
sense.
worked. Instead of
It's
chopping it up and releasing it as a cinematic where nothing makes sense,
mhm.
this explained everything. It was just, yeah,
I
nearly
think it
perfect.
shows how much they got the cinematic Justice League wrong, because surely they must have looked at what they cut up and done and put out there and go, we've
I don't know
made
how
a
you could
total ass
release
of
that
this.
shit
Do you know what I mean? When you
without
can,
knowing you've ruined it.
because it's almost like, because then when they put it out there, I'm sure there was like blame pointed at Zach, like, well, how did he come up with BVS and then come up with this? This doesn't make sense. What's he doing? He's just
Yeah.
smashing shit together. But obviously, it was that wasn't what he was wanting to do. He was clearly wanting two movies,
Yep.
and it was almost like WB didn't really back his vision anymore. That when he had to come off the project, they kind of just took this as a chance, like get Joss Whedon in, get it done, get it finished, end it, get rid of it. But
Well, yeah,
again,
that's what I think's happened, and
I'm
they've felt the
just so
repercussions, haven't
grateful.
they? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just
I'm
so
absolutely
grateful.
grateful. Zach needs to fund himself now and get it get it finished.
We want HBO Max
Yeah,
to love
man.
this and then go, you know what, Zach?
They
You need
will.
to continue this.
They'll have a look at the stats and they'll be like, "Shit, we
I
need to
mean,
keep going."
if
Zach.
you, if you yeah, if you look at the reviews so far, most of the reviews that I've kind of seen are super positive,
Yeah.
and I think it'll show. And if HBO Max gets the kind of, if everyone goes to this like a gravitate and enjoy it as much as we all have, I don't see why HBO Max couldn't try something.
They're
They
gonna do
came up
something.
with they came up
Even
with
if
what was it, 70 million or something from just to finish this.
yeah, exactly. I mean, even if they just do release parts, like this has been split up in 6 parts or 7 if you include epilogue. Even
Yeah,
if they do that, just do parts an hour long each or what have you.
it would work. It would absolutely work.
Fucking would. But
But
it has to be funded right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just love that every character got a chance to shine. It was great to see a kind of version of Zack's Joker. I'm not obviously convinced on him yet. I feel like we need more, but I
Yeah, we
love
need a
that
lot more, but
you kind of got those some tidbit answers, like basically Joker more or less admits he did kill Robin, which was kind of
yeah.
hinted at in Batman v Superman. So you see some of that come together, and the fact that this Joker knows he's Bruce Wayne as well, it's kind of like,
Yeah, but
God, there's so
we need to
with
see
Deathstroke
that
and
though.
Joker, there's so much. Like
Yeah.
they could have made some Batman movies out of that with just Ben Affleck exploring
It's like
these
they missed a
issues.
load of bits out, which I hope they address in future films if
Yeah,
Zack ends up doing it. But yeah, I think I've got more confidence in Jared Leto as Joker now than I did with Suicide Squad.
he definitely, compared to when you think of all the Jokers that we've had, he's the one Joker that's not had a fair crack. I'm not fully convinced on, but he's not really had that full movie. Do you know what I mean?
He hadn't had the right script, I don't think.
Every Joker that we've had has had a full movie because they've been the main villain. In Justice League, he felt like just a side and a wee side on. He wasn't really. Even though I think the trailers for just Suicide Squad back in the day made it look like he was the main guy.
Yeah, I know.
And it turned out he was like a sideshow.
He's just a sack of bones, isn't he, compared to all this dark side and shit like that.
Yeah, but I'd love to see Zack explore this more, because what we got, for me, the 4 hours flew in. I was surprised how much it flew in because I was just zoned in on it.
I was proper invested. Fucking numerous points. I was welling up. I don't know why.
No, the emotion. The emotion was real. Yeah. The emotion was real.
I was fucking sucked in.
I feel like some of the music was a bit forced in the kind of first half of the movie. There was some I was like, really, I don't really feel like this.
I think it's when your Superman bits come in and you hear like the Hans Zimmer theme that we had on Man of Steel.
It was just too short. I was like, I absolutely love that. Love that.
Pricking my musical senses then, and I thought,
yeah. Ooh. I was like, oh, you've got me hooked here, and then
getting chills.
That was so good. Again, just wanted more of that. Just fucking, even if it just meant just turn the camera around to face Superman, just give us another couple of seconds. I would have killed for that, because that was one of the best parts of Man of Steel, was the soundtrack, man.
Brilliant. I listen to that probably regular, maybe once a month. I listen to Hans Zimmer's.
But in terms of the story of this was fine. I don't agree with some of the parts. Like the black suit, it was great to see the black suit of Superman.
Yeah,
it really was.
I love that.
But the black suit, I always remember, didn't really ever have a cape, and it was always because he wore that kind of suit, because that was what was helping them heal.
Yeah.
You know, when Doomsday, but they kind of try to wear it.
That's what the
different suit.
Kryptonians wore, wasn't it? Just the black suit without a cape.
So it's almost like I didn't really like that he was still brought back to life, rather than kind of go more the traditional way where he never truly died. He's almost, but it's a different universe because he doesn't really have the Fortress of Solitude. He had his ship that is now in Star Labs, and it was quite good to see a bit more of Star Labs as well. But there was just so many threads in this that, I mean, there's still plenty of unanswered questions, I feel, in a lot of ways, and stuff not fully explored. But I mean,
that's either deliberate or lazy.
I truly think that it was deliberate, because I do think Zack was sitting there going, this Justice League 2-part movie is going to bring in the money that I'm absolutely going to finish my vision and go right into Darkseid in the grandest ways. So I think he would, because there was something from Batman v Superman. He answered at the epilogue of this one, about Robin and Batman admitting killing Harley. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, Batman goes seriously dark, and he was just like, and make no mistake, I'm fucking killing you. And it's like,
as slowly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, it was that bad.
Bit, I mean, where he takes the card off him, and Joker's just there, like, staring.
Yeah.
I just thought, fucking hell, that's effective, that.
Yeah. It worked really, really, yeah. I'm well impressed with this movie. Well impressed.
Yeah, I think we've talked too much.
Yeah, we could easily talk for probably the rest of the day about it.
We probably will.
Finish it.
All right, so catch you again on the next vid. Bye.
Yeah, man.